है यार.
Oh, हाँ.
That's a good looking doggy.
I know. Namaskar, namaskar. I korun bichar.
अच्छा, yeah.
Oh yeah, here he is, or she is, or he,
He.
whatever. Very good looking. He's a good looker.
Yeah. He's not mine. He's my friend's dog.
I know you said that. Yeah.
He's Neil's. Neil's and
Neil and Ira's dog. Yeah.
Yamsunde?
Neil and Ira.
Neil and Ira. Sunita ji is Sunita Tikku. She's in Texas, right? So her sons and daughter-in-laws, basically. So it's a Kashmiri dog, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh my.
Yes.
Sorry, Tagan. It's
Can you differentiate, Colonel? That's very tough.
İşe Prado karşısına zivan.
Yivan. Just miss banan pak da yeşil pakan mesi.
Chalo,
Pronsin huchu.
Emichuna nav snowy temi asem shin munav thomo. Acha. Okay, so welcome to Kashir Kitab, and it's 18th July 2025, and we asked the Art and Wisdom of Kashmir by Subhash Kakji, who is with us. And I feel like but it's good to read in a way that it's not like boring. I feel I really like that, you've given like a subject wise crash course on things, and then people can dive in to like whatever they're interested in. So I really like that. So today we are reading or discussing Vasugupta
and Shiva Sutra.
Shiva Sutras.
Yes.
And yeah, lots of questions. But I have a promise from Subhaji that he'll make it very simple. So, Vasugupta and the Shiva Sutras. Subhaji, first, why don't you simplify it? And then we can ask questions, because then it'll become more easy.
Absolutely. Okay, so let me get started. Shiva Sutras are about discovering the Shiva within. Now, first of all, the question arises, who is talking about this discovery, right? That is the individual, you and I and everybody else. And each one of us is really three different selves, as we have mentioned before. One is our body, physical body, which is the sthul sharir. One is our mind and intellect, which is the subtle body, the sukshma sharir. And the third layer is the Karan Sharir, which is where your personality is hidden. The personality that you're born with, or which you make yourself a part of, and also the Atma beyond it. Right? Now, within each one of our searches, depending upon your temperament, you would either approach from your body, which is separated from every other body, which is the Anu, the Anav Sharir, right? Anu meaning the atom. Or you would approach it from the middle, which is your intellect and your feelings, etc., which is where the transformation takes place, because we're also changing all the time. And that is the Shaktopaya or Shakti Upaya. And if you approach it from top down, depending upon your personality, because we are all different, if you approach it from top down, that is the Shambhavopaya or Shambhu's Upaya. Shambhu means which gives you bliss, right? Now, these three are entangled, so to speak, and each one of us possesses all these three aspects, right? Because we are all fundamentally the same structure. It depends upon where you're used to locating yourself. If you are used to locating yourself more in your body, in your emotions, in your feelings, then that is the Anav Sharir, right? The Anu Sharir, the atomic aspect of your body. If you're more into transformations, that is where you're doing your mantra, etc. That is the Shakti ka upay jo hai. And if you come from top down, and what does top down mean? If you can, based on your personality, if you do feel that you are really the same as everybody, if you feel that you are detached from your entanglements, so you're approaching it from top down. Now, you might ask, okay, so this is very obvious, right? This is all very obvious. This is 2 + 1 = 3. So what is the big deal? The big deal is now all of this was already a part of the Vedic tradition or yoga or the Vedas and so on. But there is something beautiful that the Shiva Sutras do, because prior to the Shiva Sutras, it was common to say, okay, मैं आत्मा हूँ, जैसे भगवत गीता में है, I'm Atma, right? But where is this Atman? Maybe it is hidden somewhere. There was no stress on what this Atma was. So it was a kind of a mystery. All that you could do was to go to your guru or your initiator and ask that person, now, what do I do? Now, what Vasugupta did was something incredible. He says, Chaitanyam Atma, that your awareness, the power of awareness itself is your Atma. This is the beautiful thing, because otherwise you could say, अच्छा हमारी रूह यहाँ है, हमारी आत्मा यहाँ है, but where is it? While what Vasugupta does, he says, Chaitanyam Atma. Atma jo hai, wo that is your awareness. Chitta. Chitta is your awareness. Chaitanyam Atma. Right? And then there are different things. Jnanam Bandha. If Chaitanyam is, if your awareness, here Chaitanya means awareness. Jnanam Bandha. What your relative knowledge is, that becomes a kind of a entanglement that entangles you to the lower knowledge, because this Chaitanyam is para knowledge. It's transcendent knowledge, right? So the rest is common sense psychology, and we can come and visit that. All right, now Shaktopaya. Now in Shaktopaya, here we said Chaitanyam Atma, so Chaitanya itself is your Shiva, right? You came from top down. If you can have that feeling, or if you can somehow get into that state of the mind, then you're using Shambhava. If you are more in touch in your temperament to the measure which your chitta gives you, chitta is your intellect here, intellect and your mind, chittam mantra, your chitta itself is your measure. So it gives you a measure to find your way and to transform yourself. And here, Guru Upaya. Your guru tells you, no, you go to your guru and you say, now, what should I do? And the guru gives you advice, etc., in how to proceed on your path, right? Okay, so this is all obvious. The third is the Anava Upaya. So here, the very first sutra is Atma Chittam. What does that mean? Your chitta itself is your Atma. In other words, here, you're not going from top down, as in the first section, which is Shambhava Upaya, where you're saying Chaitanyam. Chaitanya is awareness, while Chittam is your mind, Chaitanyam is your awareness. So there's a very subtle distinction, right? So if you follow this path, or if you feel more comfortable doing it, then the changes that are taking place within you, it also says Nartakaha Atma and Ranga Antar Atma, which means that Ranga means your stage, the changes taking place within your mind, in your, in the chitta. That is where you can see the transformations taking place. And there's also one of the sutras is Yatha Tatra Tatha Anyatra, which means as here, so there, which is the same as Yat Pinde Tatra Brahmande, as in the pind, as in the body, so in the entire cosmos, and which is why you are able to obtain knowledge, right? So really, this is the very heart of it. Where do you look for the path to discover your true self? You do it from top down, that is Shambhavopai. You do it from middle, somewhere in the middle, and or you can do it from bottom up, from your chitta up, your mind up, and there you do various things. For example, your tantra, etc., because there you are trying to follow up on, hey, what are the changes taking place within me through your effort, right? In Anavopai, you have to do much more of a personal effort. While in Shambhavopai, since you are coming from top down, in a certain sense, in a mysterious sense, a chamatkaric sense, Shambhu himself is making your path easier. So really, this is the very heart of it. This is the very heart of Kashmir Shaivism. The rest, it's like somebody were to ask me, what are the Vedas in two lines? Well, the Vedas are, first line is that everything is according to law, everything in nature, including us. And second, the Atma is para. Atma is transcendent. Atma is the only thing within you which is free. Otherwise, everything is controlled by the previous karmic chain because of the laws. Rhythm, in Sanskrit, you call it rhythm. Everything is totally controlled. But you can find freedom by aligning yourself with Atma. In fact, there is one of that in this as well. Yeah, it says, Drishyam, let's see, which is exactly here as well. That Drishyam Shariram or some such thing, which means when you see, you create. And that is also called in the Vedic tradition, that's called the Drishti Srishti Vad. Because if you're not seeing, it means if you're not observing, you have no freedom. You are like a individual in a river, and the stream of the river will take you. You have no freedom at all. You have freedom only when you observe, which is what you also have in the Yoga Sutras, right? Yoga, Chitta Vritti Nirodha. All the vrittis, you make them shant, and then your mind becomes a clear surface and you can observe things. And when you observe, that itself is transformation. Right. In fact, I had posted that paper to Kosher Kitab on mind, consciousness, and lifespan. And there I make a scientific quantum mechanical argument why observing can control time, which is what rishis also did. If you can observe yourself, if you calm yourself, your clock slows down, your lifespan becomes longer. So that's all a mathematical argument, because I was selling that to scientists and physicists. But it's indeed true. So this is it. This is all there is to Shiva Sutra. The rest you have all these, 50 odd or 60 odd sutras. And Vasugupta expressed them in a certain way, and somebody else could express them in some other way. Because this is the heart of the intuition behind the Shiva Sutras. And one more thing, it says, Ichha, what does it say? Ichha Shakti Uma Kumari. Somewhere, I think it's the very first. Ichha Shakti Uma Kumari, right? And what that means is, we have three Shaktis within each one of us: Ichha, Gyan, and Karya. Now, traditionally in Vedic books, Ichha is Saraswati, Gyan is Lakshmi, and Karya is Durga. Right? Now, in Shiva Sutras, it says Ichha Shakti Uma Kumari, that Uma now is your Ichha Shakti. That's why Uma always puts these questions to Shiva, right? And all the tantras, it's Uma says, now you tell me what is the meaning of this, what is the meaning of that. So that is, you're channeling the Uma within you. Uma is
I was actually really wondering what the difference in the teachings are between Vigyan Bhairav and Shiv Sutra.
I have done Vigyan Bhairav years ago. I haven't looked at it recently. I'll have to open up my book. So I don't remember that at all at this moment.
Like this is
now,
the
if you ask me,
this is that is the conversation between Shiva and Parvati.
Right. But all the tantras are conversations, not just Vigyan Bhairav. You have dozens and dozens of such tantras, which are a conversation between Parvati and Shiva.
So does he,
in fact, that is the frame.
Does he impart to her, which upaya does he impart to her?
I'll have to go back. See, I haven't looked at that carefully. carefully for a long time. But you have Malini Tantra and many other of these things. And perhaps many of those upayas are Anav upayas, where you are doing
Yeah.
various
That's what I
tantras.
think, yeah.
Those are Anav upayas.
Actually, I
Rathindraji,
think
yeah.
But maybe
what
he
Vijay ji.
initiated her like with touch, so that was really Anupay for her, right?
actually in that Vijnana Bhairav, there are like 112 of
Yeah.
those upayas, but they're all at that time when Vijnana Bhairav came, there was no classification of the Shambho upaya, Shakti upaya, and
So
all
they're
that
all
stuff.
mixed up.
They're all mixed up, and there's a map. If you look at that book that Lakshmanju Academy has published, it's called the Manual of Self-Realization. That's 112 meditations.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
has got a map. It has got a full table where each one of them is shown classified as which upaya this
Okay,
belongs
okay.
to.
I remember it now. Okay, okay. Yeah, makes
Yeah.
sense. I think I have seen this. Okay.
And as like Suvaji said, they are entangled. So you can see many of those upayas are actually starting at Anupaya level, but they are becoming Shaktopaya and then later becoming Shambhovapaya. So this is like you
Yeah,
can take
yeah.
a
Okay.
highway, which exit you take. It's like that.
So which
Right.
one
And
predates which
yeah,
one? So obviously Vigyan Bhairav predates, but who wrote Vigyan Bhairav is what I'm trying to think. Like I don't know initially.
there are
That has
various
been
traditions.
attributed to. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there are all these traditions who got it, because you also say that they came to you, you saw them, you saw Uma asking these questions and you wrote it down. That's one way of looking at it, right? And so you saw it in your mind's eye, that conversation.
So did Vasugupta for
And
Shiva Sutras.
so that Vasugupta goes to Birwa cave, right? He goes to the cave. And that's
That's
where
a
he
Shiva
came.
rock. That's a Shiva rock. He goes to
Shiva
Shiva
rock,
rock.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shankar Pal.
Actually, what is written in the book is it was all written on a rock.
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
his students just conveyed further.
Okay.
So
He
what is
discovered
actually,
it.
yes, they discovered.
Yeah, he
Right.
discovered, he was given, he got an insight that he should go to that place, and it's in Dashigam sanctuary. Dashigam
And then
sanctuary.
explore it all.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
But some of these statements are also metaphorical,
Yeah.
because you could also say that the rock is in your memory, mind's eye, and you saw it there, and then you gave it to your students. Now, I'm not
It's not like
looking at
we
it.
aren't confused enough.
We are not. But seriously, Amrita, actually, it is quite easy, really. All of
You have to
Vedic.
reach at some conclusion.
No, but literally, I think the engraving is in the rock, at least in Hari Parbat. That we know. That is a
Yes,
literal
yes,
engraving of
that
Sri
is there,
Yantra.
yes.
Of
So
Sri Yantra, of course. So that was done by somebody. I mean, that didn't arise spontaneously, but that is engraving of Sri Yantra. And Sri Yantra is, of course, the very heart of it, right? You have the various goddesses, if you will. You have these various doorways, and you finally go to the very heart of the being, who's Shiva. But Shiva is forever away. So you have to approach Shiva, the very heart of your consciousness, through the Devi. Now, of course, in the Shiva Sutra, it's also said, Udyama Bhairavaha. So when you do your Udyam, when you do your effort,
Efforts.
at that time, Shiva manifests to you as Bhairav. So you can see Shiva as Bhairav, because that change is taking place. But Shiva, Shiva as Param Shiva, that's always beyond Bhairav. That's why somebody was telling me, that's why in Kashmir Shaivism, you normally worship Bhairav, because Bhairav is that you can relate to.
Karta Dharta.
Bhairav is that aspect of consciousness which relates to you, which is closest to your Jivatma, right?
So,
And yeah.
No, finish your thought.
Yeah, so this also, Shiva Sutras also speak about 4 states of awareness, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, and
And
Turiya.
deep sleep.
Turiya,
Yes. The three, and beyond that is the fourth, which is Turiya, right? From
Turiya.
Chaturthi, Turiya, fourth. So, and which is also in Mandukya Upanishad, that you have four states, and the primary three are Jagrat, which is your awake state, which is where you see Ishwar as Virat, as something huge and who's looking over us, as perhaps in the Abrahamic religions. But then you have Swapnavastha, where you have access to vikalpa, ideas, concepts, and where at the top is, or where you can say it's Hiranyagarbha. It's the womb of golden womb where all the gifts are given to us through these ideas, which you can then bring down to your Jagrat Avastha, and that transform. That's where the creation comes in from. And beyond that is Sushupti, and the lord of that is Ishvara, who's another name of Shiva, right? So this is of course talking about it, but when you are experiencing it, you're not experiencing it in terms of words. You are experiencing all this in terms of the transformation that is affected within yourself. And that transformation makes you into a different person, because then you become creative. Without, as a poet, I tend to go to ordinary language very often. You got to embrace this consciousness within you, right? And when you do that, all kinds of wonderful things happen. But because if you're always observing and watching from a distance and still let yourself being floated ahead in the river, in the flow of events, because we're also a part of flow of events, right? And we don't normally, we don't have that much of freedom. Isn't that true? We don't have that much of freedom, because all that happens to us and what we do, literally all, not entirely, is already governed by expectations of others that have of you, of expectations of your friends and relatives and family, and expectations at your job. They expect you to do something in a certain way. So you go from one thing to another. It's like you are watching
monkey mind.
The internet of life and going from one tab to another, right? That can keep us busy for 16 hours a day. It's so interesting.
I have maybe a bit of a silly question, Subhashji, but I'd made a note. I've seen a lot of places this term is used, mundane knowledge. Why do we call it mundane?
Mundane, I think, is a Latin word. Mundane means related to the world, which means related to the world of things and bodies, bodies and shapes around us, of which we are a part. So that is mundane.
Worldview.
Now,
Worldview kind of thing.
In the Western tradition, there are only two layers: the mundane view and the view of the spirit, because they put the spirit and the mind in one category. See, it's a two-layered stuff. And in fact, Western medicine is also two-layered: body and mind. Mind is treated separately. Allopathy only treats the body, right? While in India, everything is Traividya, everything is triple. Even Ayurveda, and also this model of the mind. You have the body, you have the mind, but actually, if you're looking at mind, you have the mind, the intellect, and then the Atma, right? And you can put them together in different groups, but there are always three. And that's why the Vedic tradition is called Traividya. And also Kashmir Shaivism, or Shiva has a Trishul, right? Because everything is in triples. And if you have seen that the yantra that Kashmir Shaivism, in Lakshmanju's ashram also, the yantra has a Trishul there in the middle. You have Shiva Shakti with a Trishul in the middle, because there are three bodies, right? And
para kuch aisa likha hai usme.
Para means one is apara, which is our body. Apara meaning mundane. Para meaning para plus apara. Para is a sandhi of para plus apara, which is the middle, which is partly body, partly apara, transcendent. And then there is apara. But you know what's beautiful is actually Shiva is always walking with us. Whatever we see is through the power of Shiva, through the power of transcendent. And we just take it for granted because, in fact, I had written something. There's somebody in India who's written a book on Lalavak. So this is a Hindi translation. So this author's son, he said, would you please write a foreword? So I said, okay. So I wrote something and I sent it to my sister, who's a Lalavak expert, professor at Hawaii. She's written 2 books on Laleshwari. She says, but you haven't mentioned reflexive consciousness. See, there are 2 consciousnesses. One is, of course, awareness, right? Which is the primal consciousness, which is para. But the way we relate to things is through a reflexive consciousness, which reflects off our senses. And that is limited, which is why this reflexive consciousness finds itself unable to fathom the depth of the original awareness. So we are quite happy in our reflexive consciousness, which is what finally lands us in our, sthul sharir, or in our ordinary mind. Because
so that is reactive, na? That is reactive. That is reactive.
Yeah, that's reactive, of course. Oh, absolutely. And so we are always reactive. And because we are reactive, we are not free. As long as we are totally reactive, we will never be free. We are a part of the karmic chain. We are carried aloft by events, and we are unhappy also because good and bad, dukh and sukh, are all a part of this karmic chain. So we are sad, we cry, and we say, why is this happening to me? And because the real sukha, according to Shiva Sutras, according to the whole Vedic tradition, is when you separate yourself from
the bondage isn't all.
From the bondage, and it's a kind of a aesthetic thing. That is the chamatkar. At that moment, suddenly things are not the same as before. In fact, a mundane story on this. I was talking to somebody and he lost a lot of money in crypto. He was invested, he was making a huge amount of money. And then suddenly one day he lost it all because, crypto has been going up and down like crazy. And then he came to me, he says, do you know what, Subhash? I'm feeling so free and happy. All that stuff was actually bondage. At that time, you were a part of it and you would think of tomorrow, and your tomorrow was already hostage to your past and today, right? So sometimes when you give it all up, one way or the other, either emotionally, you don't have to give it up physically. And that is the beauty of Kashmir Shaivism. In this tradition, they told you, you don't have to give up your family, you don't have to give up anything, but you can make a switch within, and that will make you free.
I found it interesting that in the beginning of the chapter, you kind of mentioned that the process of expansion begins with desire. But doesn't desire bind us also to the material world? Like, I'm sure there are different kinds of desires, but yeah, that was...
Desire is a double-edged sword. Uma, that is Parvati, also does Ichha. She also has a desire in her mind. So you have to have desire. If you don't have desire, then nothing's going to happen. That's why desire is important. It's counterintuitive. You take your desire and use that sword to make yourself free. Because if you don't have that desire to be free, then you are bonded.
So it's Shakti in
it's about desire to be
either
free.
way. Desire is either way, na? For anything good or for attaining any spiritual thing. Absolutely. This is either way. Yeah. How you
there
desire.
could be a desire
Absolutely.
to that also.
I must tell
Desire
you, the very first book of poems I wrote, I was, I believe, 19 or 20. And the first 2 lines I remember, and they are in my book. The title of the book is the conductor of the dead. It's on academia also, you can read it. So the very first two lines are, and this is what I was feeling at that time, that I have so much of desire that desire itself is my fulfillment. These are the first two lines.
Nice.
You know, that's counterintuitive.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very deep for a 19-year-old.
Actually, I think one of the things. Sorry.
Vijay ji had raised his hand.
Yeah,
No,
Vijay ji.
actually, the thing, you see, as Subhaji said, the reflexive consciousness. So we're always, whatever we're doing in mundane life is all fueled by the consciousness, because without that, nothing can happen. So even this Isha or Gyan or Kriya, all these three Shaktis, without that, we cannot do anything. Nothing is possible, this real world. But it is all limited. That's why there's this conchakla. So in our normal, functioning, in our normal form, we have all of these things, but they're limited. So, but they are there. I mean, we have to have those Shaktis for functioning, right? I mean,
accepting, Vijayji, sometimes that chamatkar does happen. Sometimes suddenly you see something and you had not seen that before. You don't know where that came from. You know, in either as inspiration or something, you are wrestling with a very knotty problem, personal or intellectual, and you don't know where to go. You're totally lost. And then suddenly something happens and you're free. It happens in personal relations. It happens in intellectual problem. So it does happen. And that's why chamatkar is given. And they, all our great rishis knew it. That's why our acharyas knew it. And they do give this importance to chamatkar. Chamatkar is that miraculous thing that happens.
A lot of people, like that happens in the shower.
It happens. It happens in the shower, or what happens is that you're not able to sleep. You're tossing from side to side, and then suddenly, maybe sometimes these things happen in Prabhat, very early morning, and the goddess speaks to you. You have your answer. You don't know where that comes from.
Like Ramanuja got his, messages from the goddess.
And of course, Ramanujan, he says that the goddess Namakal, who is another name for Lakshmi, I believe, or I might be mistaken, actually dictates those formulas to him. At least that's what he claimed. Dictated those formulas, yeah.
So this is what I was thinking is, of course, I think if there's no other question on the upayas which he mentioned, which is the basic stuff about this entire chapter. Overall, if you don't have any questions, or if you do have questions after we ask those questions and answer them, I was thinking we go through the points that you've written, 1.1, 1.2. I didn't understand, firstly, why did you write that into like separate things, and what are those? Are they like Vasu Gupta's chapters on them, or
no? Those are the sutras. 1.1, these are the sutras in Sanskrit. For example, the very first one, 1.1, is Chaitanya Atma. Consciousness is the self, or awareness is the self.
So what I was thinking is that, if those are what they are, so now we'll just go through just the titles of each of them, not in Sanskrit necessarily, just the English part, and then everybody kind of agrees to that, they understand it.
The note is with each of the sutras.
The total number I just counted is 78. The total number of sutras is 78.
Yeah, we'll go fast. We'll just recite it, like only the titles, not the notes with it, to just understand. Like, because I didn't understand a lot of things, and is everyone okay with that part? Because I feel like I kind of got lost in between. But we should start with Anava Upaya, because I think that might be simpler. We can just start from 3.1.
I just have one question maybe before we start that. Matrika. What is Matrika? Like the sound.
Okay, that's very interesting. Matrika is this womb of syllables the whole idea here is that how do words communicate meaning to us, right? After all, we talk, or the guru talks to the shishya, or people talk to each other. Ultimately, we are exchanging sounds, right? And the sounds are supposed to or travel through Akash, the inner sky. So Matrika is the totality of all the various syllables of the Sanskrit, Varnamala. There are a total of 49 or whatever, right? 12, 16 vowels, and the
Vowels,
others
yeah.
are consonants. So how you put them together communicates a certain meaning. So this is the womb or the ocean of all possible meanings, because if you take these syllables or consonants in different combinations, they provide us different meaning. Isn't that miraculous? So that's the whole idea. So matrikas are very important, right? In the very first section,
1.4.
1.4.
yeah. Gyan Adhishtan Matrika. Gyan Adhishtan, meaning the foundation, is the Matrika. The syllables, the set of these syllables is the Adhishtan of Gyan. Right?
Because you express yourself through these sounds, like you convey
Absolutely.
knowledge.
Now, of course, the whole point here is that normally, we use words, and this has got a very deep history. We use words when you're growing up as associative sounds. As a child, you have different words for different things. Like this is ye chamach hai, ye hai, wo hai. But the whole thing in the Sanskrit tradition, and it's much earlier than Shiva Sutra. It goes back to actually Panini itself, from Panini to Patanjali, when we have talked about them. That is the meaning in sounds, or is the meaning in the sentence? Because sentence is totality, sounds are separate. So in reality, it's somewhere in between, right? And then Bhartrihari, the great philosopher, he said there are four kinds of sounds, or four kinds of language, or vak. One is Vaikhari, which is bikra hua, Vaikhari from bikra hua, spread out, which is not connected, where things are not entangled with each other. The other is Madhyama, which is like that Madhyama or Para, right? And the third is Vaikhari, Madhyama, and Para.
Pashyanti.
Pashyanti. Pashyanti is where you see the structure. So it's Vaikhari, Madhyama, Pashyanti, where you see the entire form. And beyond that is Paravak. And Paravak is which is transcendent, where everything comes down from. So the whole idea of meaning in hearing in sounds, and how we can approach them by refining our senses. In fact, it's always interesting to talk about tidbits. There's something very interesting tidbit I came across yesterday. In Christianity, the mala that you do jap on is called rosary, right? Rosary. And what's the basis of the word rosary? I didn't know about it. Rosary, where does it come from? It comes from rose tree. Maybe you have a garden, there's a rose tree. But I found a secret which a Danish scholar mentions in passing in one of his articles, which I came across yesterday. So in Sanskrit, of course, the rosary is called jap mala, right? Jap mala. You are telling the beads, unki jo mala hai, wo jap mala hai. Now, if you use the word japa mala, the word japa means rose. Did you know that? I didn't know that myself until yesterday. Japa mala, like japa kusum. There used to be in India, there used to be a shampoo called japa kusum also. It used to say ki acha hai balon ke liye. Japa kusum tel or whatever. So japa means rose. So the theory is that the idea of jap mala with 108 beads, because we do know that 108 is totally central to the Vedic ideas, right? Because the sun is 108 its diameter, the moon is 108 its diameter, etc. and the inner sun is 108 from the body, from the earth, which is the body. So, and the rosary also has 108 beads. So the theory is, and I'm going to write a popular article on it first, that maybe the Japamala went to West Asia, and there the word Japa, it went as Japamala, mispronounced, and they translated that into Rose Mala, and it became a
Yeah,
rose.
it's actually, it says China rose.
China rose, right. So that is a rose. So it became a rose thing. But really, Jap is telling beads and Japa is rose. You see that?
Interesting.
How interesting it is. How interesting it is.
Very interesting. Okay. I really want to go through this because I felt like there were certain places I didn't understand, and it was most of the places. So
78 places. There are a total of 78 places. 78
yeah,
sutras.
don't feel scared. It's okay. It's just written by you. So I'm sure you have the answer. Okay. So I think I understand. So we're starting from Anavopai, which is section 3.1.
Right.
The mind is self. Okay.
Right.
Then next is knowledge is bondage. Understood.
Yeah. No, it's not understood. Because normally one would say that knowledge sets you free.
No.
So this is sort of counterintuitive. It sets you, it's like Icha. Icha both sets you free and puts you in bondage.
Binds
so knowledge
you, yes,
is exactly the same
it's
thing.
either way, what I said earlier.
Yeah,
It's either way.
absolutely right.
It is always
either way. Right.
It's up to you. It's up to you.
It's up to you. Absolutely right.
Yeah. So the knowledge of ordinary stuff actually is like, it'll keep you entangled, basically. Okay.
Right.
I think I got it. If anybody else has want to stop, just let me know. Maya is the lack of discernment of the beginning of transformation.
And you know what it really means, deep meaning? You might ask, what is Maya? Why should there be Maya? Because everything in this universe is according to cosmic law, which is rhythm. And the word rhythm is from ritu. Seasons change with regularity. Everything is the past. The future is in the past. There's a very famous poem on this by T.S. Eliot, The Past and the Future. We'll talk about that some other time. So,
you're not helping. You're not helping.
Okay, so Maya, where does Maya come in from? Okay, listen. Where does Maya come in from? Maya comes in from,
we get lost
because you if you have not found, if you haven't through discernment seen where you stand, because the moment you see, you become free.
Right. Okay.
It's very
Maya
beautiful.
is the lack of discernment of the beginning of transformation. So then you can go to the next step of the transformation. So otherwise you are in Moh Maya.
Otherwise you are in Moh Maya.
Subhaji,
Right.
if I may add to that, Maya word comes from Ma. Ma word means measurement. So the moment you start measuring something, you are basically fragmenting it.
Limiting it.
And when you start fragmenting it, then the continuity of this time space, this thing continuum is broken. That's the Maya. That's where the Maya word comes from.
Interesting.
It also comes from, yeah, you're right. Wonderful what you said. It also is a name related to Indra, and Indra is the lord of the senses, right? And again, it comes to measuring, right. Okay, fine.
Okay,
fine.
3.4. The destruction on the transformation is in the body. What does it mean?
That whatever the transformation that is taking place also gets projected in the transformation within your body. It's not just
So it's
in the air.
biological also, you're saying?
Yeah, because software and hardware, mind and body are connected.
Yes, sounds good.
You are working on the
I
software.
think we understand that, because then that's why Anavopai works, because when you do breathing, it works in your other level. Okay, so this is understood. Next, 3.5 is the quieting of the vital channels, the mastery of the elements, the withdrawal from the elements, and the separation of the elements.
Right.
What elements?
It's total detachment.
The elements that constitute you. There are 5 elements.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, next is perfection is through the concealment of delusion of the mind. Okay, I mean, this is kind of understood. Next is overcoming delusion while enjoying the world, innate knowledge is obtained. Overcoming delusion while enjoying the world, innate
Amrita
knowledge.
said the Sanskrit version.
अबे यार 50 साल लग जाएंगे मुझे.
Mohajayad Ananda.
If it was written in Devanagari, I would have read it because this is very hard to read. Overcoming, I mean, if I try, I will. Mohajayad.
Moha, Jayad meaning finding victory over moha.
Yeah.
Ananta
Ananta bhogat.
Sahaja vidya jayaha.
Sahaja vidya
Sahaja vidya, which means that this innate
Easy.
knowledge. Yeah.
We are trying to understand it, not trying to. अबे यार तू संस्कृत in Kashmir ले लेना कल चुप करके दिमाग मत खराब कर तेरा. Overcoming delusion while enjoying the world, innate knowledge is obtained. What does that mean? Overcoming delusion?
The next line is better, I feel. It says the idea is to be of the world and contribute to it while recognizing its true nature.
Yeah.
Hmm.
To be of the world and contribute to it while recognizing its true nature. Like how is this Anava?
So you're not running away from Maya. You are actually participating in the world. But
So-
if you recognize its true nature, then you can still participate. Because you could also say that, okay, this is all Maya, I'm going to run away from
Okay,
it.
yeah. So it's like
Advaita concept.
like you said, we have to be part of the daily life, like in our daily life, and still like be aware of what the Vijayji has a question or a comment.
Actually, I would say that because Kashmir Shaivism is unique in that way, that it has got the concept of Turiyatita. Instead of Turiya, which is the fourth state, they also have a state of Turiyatita, which means you are in the fourth state, you are in Samadhi, but you are actually living in the world. Every act that you are doing, every perception you have, every conception you have, you always have the awareness of the true reality.
Yeah, okay.
And so that is Jivan Mukta kind of thing. That's that concept that they have.
You are in it, but you are aware that you are not part of it. Like you are away from it or whatever.
Or you're basically aware of your true self and not this world of duality.
Okay. 3.8, waking is the second doing. Waking state is the second aspect of reality as experienced by us. Because we can't do the experiences.
Yeah, because the reality is
in
multidimensional, and waking is one aspect of it. What we see in the waking state is only one aspect of reality.
Yeah,
right? Because what we see in the waking state is embodiments, mainly
virtual reality.
around us. Yeah.
Not actual reality.
Right.
Virtual reality.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Virtual
Next
reality.
is the self. Self is the dancer. I mean, sure.
Now, what does it mean?
Is it between the two states that you are going back and forth?
Atma, Nartaka, Atma. So, because only Atma has freedom, that's why it can go from one state to another. Because we don't have freedom unless we find unless we align ourselves with the Shiva within us. Otherwise, we are totally in bondage, right? Rachnaji, right?
Yes.
Bondage. So Nartak is the Atma. So
Nartak is the dancer then, right?
Dancer,
the dancer
yes.
who's really
The self
dancing.
is the dancer.
Yeah, in the pure.
Who is Shiva?
There's no dancing.
Who is Nataraj? You can also say that is Nataraj, right? The Nartak within us. Yeah, okay, I have something more. The self is aware that he's not the body, which is obvious in statements such as my body is in pain. That makes it clear that for the self, the body is only a garment. So the self is dancing wearing different masks.
So you kind of are observing yourself in the act of engaging with the world.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as the other one, I think. Yeah.
Okay, the inner self is the stage. Rangonataratma.
Ranga Antaratma. Yeah, this is through Santhi. So it means Rangas Antaratma. The Ranga,
dialogue
meaning
with the
stage, is the Antaratma. Yeah.
Okay. The inner self is the stage. Okay. Inner self is the stage.
Right.
Why?
Oh, Because you're watching things, as Shruti said, you're also observing, you're participating and you're observing. So when you're observing,
Okay.
you're observing everything on that inner stage, because we are doing both
Okay.
these things. You know, this is
Okay.
really the very heart of all of these deep things, is this duality. You are in it and you're not in it.
You are also
You have
witnessing
desire,
it.
you have desire and you don't have desire. You're in love and you're not in love. You know, that is the secret.
The senses are the spectators. So that's clear.
That's clear.
The pure state is achieved by the power of the intellect. One must rise from the mind to the intellect to reach the pure state. Okay. The Siddha who has achieved highest knowledge has freedom. Okay, I think that's fine. As here, so elsewhere. Okay, this is basically we are everywhere types. Then flow of consciousness is the way of nature, and so what is not external is seen as external. Is the way of nature. Flow of consciousness is the way of nature.
What it really means is that really the reality is connected at many different levels. But we create these boundaries that here is me and here is external to me. And we do that even within ourselves, right? We have different layers. And that makes us, you know, do our analysis, etc., within us, or see things on the inner stage. So that's what it means.
So there are different methods to get to the higher consciousness, you're saying?
No, we're not talking higher consciousness, because higher consciousness is whatever powers that we have is through higher consciousness. Our senses who are observing.
Okay, so they perceive it as
through higher.
external.
Yeah.
Okay. Attention to the seed. What does this mean? The path of dhyana is to pay attention to a seed sound. Okay.
So here
that's
it's talking about
Anavopaya.
mantra. Right.
Mantra, yeah. This is basically then also what you do in TM, right? Transcendental meditation.
Right.
So then now it's clear. Transcendental meditation is Anavopaya. I always thought it was Shaktopaya. Okay. Seated one sinks effortlessly in the lake. When seated in an asana and doing dhyana, one loses sense of one's own body. You would think it is while lying down, while laying down, but lying down.
Well, I think that depends on the practitioner. Normally, what they advise you is to sit up.
Sit up, right?
Asana,
Yes.
Where
Yeah.
your spine is, like
Erect.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. One creates one's own measure of consciousness. It is clear that consciousness creates the world as it is experienced. Okay.
As you experience, so is the world for you.
Yeah.
So is the world.
As
And that's why the
limited
world can appear so different to different kinds of people.
Yes,
Sometimes
yes.
people from different culture or different belief system, and you are shocked. How is this person seeing things the way he or she is seeing it, right?
Your
Yeah.
perception. Your
They see
perception
this-
of the things.
Yeah. As limited knowledge is transcended, birth is transcended.
Can I say something about this?
Yes.
Actually,
Of course.
I was reading a Scientific American paper last 2 weeks ago that they were doing some analysis on some cultures which are losing their languages. Like the native languages, native cultures. So it's not just the people, but even the cultures who have their how they perceive the world is actually embedded in their language.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this was like. University of Wisconsin Madison researchers who were working on this Australian Aborigine kind of language, which is close to extinction, and they've done something similar for Hopi language. So it's even the cultures, not just the people who have that way of perception, but even the cultures have their own unique way of perception, which is embedded in their language. And with the extinction of these languages, you're losing that way of life or way of looking at the world. So
Which is Vijayji, which is consistent with the whole idea of matrika, which we have in the very first section. The way these sounds are put together varies from one language to another. And to further support what you said, Vijayji, as we know, the Australian Aborigines have art which is totally unique. No other people in the world have done the kind of paintings that they've done or that they do. So it's their way of looking at reality, which has given them that capacity, if you will, that Shakti to paint the way they do. And in fact, they also see time differently. They see time all, the past, the present, and the future all collapsed at one point.
And what the age of imperialism did in this last 300 years was to basically eliminate or completely decimate all of these cultures and languages and the wisdom that was embedded in them. So
Yeah.
Right.
luckily ours survived.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. 3.19. As limited knowledge is transcended, birth is transcended, which is kind of clear. Is that where I was? Then next is Maheshwari and other mothers sources of beings reside in the K sound element. The syllable K is the seed sound for several reasons. The consonant of Sanskrit alphabet begin with it, and because many interrogative words start with K, Kim, Kam,
Right.
Kasmin, Kurt. Okay, so K should be the mantra.
And also the name Kak.
And Kar. And Kar.
And Kar. Absolutely. That is
And
true.
Kashir Kitab.
I don't think it's a coincidence that Ekta Kapoor's serials were all starting with the letter K.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
it talks about
3.21.
the kavarg here.
Yeah.
Kavarg basically means all the alphabets in that those kavarg mein. Ka, kha,
Right.
ga, gha, na. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yes, it
the
starts with
source
the
of kavarg is kant. It comes from the kant.
Yeah.
Because all these consonants have a place in the mouth.
And K is first.
Ka is not
Ka is
in
the way.
You don't touch
You don't
touch any other part of the mouth. It comes directly from the
Yeah.
So I believe that's probably the reason.
Makes sense.
That's a good point. Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Very good.
Nice.
The fourth state of consciousness should be used to oil the other three states of consciousness. Okay.
And that's possible because they are actually entangled. They are not absolutely separate. Just like the elements are entangled, these states of consciousness are also entangled. And in fact, people who speak about what's it called? It's called some dreaming. When you see clearly, what's it called? There is a word for it.
Lucid
dreaming. Right? So one dreaming is entangled with.
Yeah. It's like an overlap, intersection between wakefulness and sleep. Okay, so the four consciousness states are waking, dreaming, dreamless, sleeping, and
Turiya, the fourth, the transcendent.
We have not translated it. There's no translation for it. Okay, absorbed in his nature, one penetrates by the phonemes one's mind. What phonemes?
The phonemes are the same. The sounds.
The matrikas.
The matrikas, yeah.
Balanced breathing leads to a balanced vision. Did you want to say something? I think. The lower plane arises in the middle of the matrikas. The lower plane. The process of obtaining meaning from the former is the dance in which the lower plane thrusts itself up in the middle.
This is a theory that if you could meditate or concentrate on each sound, you can also look at the three parts of the sound. And there it's the lower, the middle, and the higher. It's just a theory. And this is a theory that is here. But I know of many people who have spent many years doing it. In fact, a very famous yogi of the 70s, his name was Swami Ram. So he spent many years doing this, how you meditate, then you stop. When you utter one sound, then there's a gap, then you go to the other one. But I think personally...
there is it's like a meditative method, like using sound?
Yeah. Right.
Okay. What was destroyed rises again by the joining sadhani of perceptions with the
Sandhani.
Sandhya.
Pratyaya with the objects.
What was destroyed rises again by the joining of perceptions with the objects of experience. The dance
See,
leads to the joining of perception with the object.
so what he's trying to do is that, okay, if sounds have everything, so how does meaning arise? So it's a kind of an abstract description of that. It arises because one sound leads to another, and out of that perception arises. So you can leave it at that.
Okay.
You know,
One
it's a
becomes like Shiva at the point of
abstraction on
obtaining
which one could spend a lot of time.
Oh, sorry, you were saying something. Okay. One becomes like Shiva. The activity of the body is the vow. The body is now the medium. Okay. In Anuvupaya, that is true. I mean, it is true for any upaya, I guess.
Yeah.
The recitation is the discourse. The action serves the ends of the consciousness. Okay. Self-knowledge is the gift. Sure. He who establishes...
This is all about meaning of sounds, right? Yeah.
Oh, okay. He who established is the means and knowledge. Who is established is the means and knowledge. It is the coming together of means and ends. The universe is the aggregate of his powers. All things are interconnected. Maintenance and absorption, things go through transformation phases. Okay, so 3.33 now. Even when this maintenance and dissolution occurs, there is no break in awareness due to the perceiving subjectivity.
What he's trying to say is that really, you know, Shiva is there, because otherwise your sound is ended. So why is the meaning still there? So there is somebody behind who sees this connection. In fact, you know, this is a very ancient debate between the Buddhists and the Shaivites. The Buddhists used to believe that, look, everything is change. There is nothing. Then the question that the Shaivites would say, okay, if everything is changed, we accept it, then how come you recall the memories of your childhood when you have completely changed from that childhood as that of the same person? That is you. So there is a continuity. Yeah.
The feeling of pleasure and pain is external. The witness within remains detached.
I think part of that problem arose because Buddhists did not think Atma exists.
Right.
They did not,
right.
and our Gyan stays in Atma.
Right.
So if there's no Atma, then where does the Gyan stay? It doesn't stay in the physical body.
Yeah.
So that's probably where it came from.
True.
Right. The one who is free of that is alone. The one who is free of that is alone. The witness is aware of pleasure and pain but does not experience them. A mass of delusion, the mind is subject to activity. The activity is going from one thing to another. The mass of delusion, the mind is subject to activity. Okay. Matlab, in the mind there is activity, basically. That's
right. Always activity in the mind, always, because it's driven by forces which are acting on it. It's like a machine.
Right. When separateness is gone, action leads to creation.
Right, which is where that freedom comes in.
No, but when there is separateness, that's when action leads to creation, no?
Yeah, when you are able to separate yourself from this whole sequence.
But then it says when separateness is gone.
So basically, you recognize your, Shiva in everything.
Yeah.
You recognize Shiva in everything. That means there's nothing different.
Yeah.
So you don't do anything for selfishness. You don't.
There is no duality. You mean there is no duality.
There's no
duality. And you are not different from anybody else or anything else.
Yes,
you are all Shiva.
Oh,
you are Shiva.
So whatever you do, you're doing for the common good, and you're not doing for selfish motive.
Got it. Yeah, I thought separation from like attachment or whatever. Anyway, the power of create is from one's own experience. Okay, that which precedes the three states of consciousness, vitalizes them.
Yeah, which is, the three states of consciousness, which is, they're all a river, but what is
right. Whatever comes before vitalizes the next one.
Right.
Okay. The same stability of mind permeates the body, senses, and external world. At enlightenment, everything is in harmony. Okay. Declaration leads to the extroversion of the inner process. declaration leads. This is how the Karana Sharira
Karan
operates
Sharir.
through.
Karan Sharir is the causal body, which is your ahankar is situated.
Oh, this is how the Karana Sharir operates through a declaration in the mind that then becomes the driver of the future action.
Right.
Means it has to declare what?
Like you have to think something,
Extra person of
declare to
that.
yourself,
See,
and then that
yeah.
becomes the source of action.
Declaration is something like observation that I mentioned. Once it's also pratigya. Once you are, that's where you can choose. There are where the possibility comes within you, or the point comes within you to make a choice. And once you do that becomes the future action.
driving
So there are some
force.
choices
Sankalpa.
because fundamentally there is freedom, and that freedom is from the consciousness within you.
In Yoga Nidra, they call this sankalpa. Right?
Yeah.
Sankalpa.
Ki tumne, haan. So you have to be, not aware, but I understand what it says. Okay, anyway, when established
Para, half para, half apara. Para.
para. Yeah, when established in pure awareness, the process is destroyed and the personhood ceases to exist. Okay, although cloaked in the elements that are not free, like the Lord, one is supreme. Okay, the link with the vital breath is natural. Okay, concentrating on the center within the nose, what use are the left and right channels, or sushmana?
Sushumna is the middle
Sushumna is
channel.
Ida,
Ida,
Pingala, and
Pingala in the
Sushumna.
back, and Sushumna is the middle one.
middle one. Yeah. What use are the left and right channels, or sushumna? So concentrating on the center within the nose. Concentrating on the center within the nose. But what does it mean? Ida, Pingala is left, right?
Because you have always, because you have transcended it. See, you do all of this to go ahead, but once you are one with the self, then you're gone beyond it. So it's asking a rhetorical question.
Okay.
What use?
Okay.
Rhetorical question.
May the individual merge in the Lord once again. Okay, fine. Three is done. We'll go to 2. It's 7:10. Hopefully, we'll finish it before it's too late. Shaktopaya 2.1. The mind is a measure or a mantra. The mind is a measure of reality. Okay. Means I didn't understand, but okay.
You can say that mind is basically where the space and time kind of exists, right? Otherwise, space and time does not exist. So
Okay,
the
sure.
measurement is all. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Effort leads to attainment. Okay. The secret of mantra is in the being of the body of knowledge. Okay. The emergence of the mind in the womb is like a dream based on indistinct knowledge. The emergence of mind in the womb
Because mind
is like a dream based on indistinct knowledge.
Because it's
I feel like
based.
I don't understand English also, actually.
Yeah, because if you didn't have indistinct knowledge, then you'd be free. So mind exists in our, the past, which is not very clear anyway. So we are always dhundle mein. The mind is working in that.
Yeah, it does say
ground.
that the mind is an embodiment based on the senses projecting in the brain, and its very foundation is limited associative knowledge. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. When the knowledge of oneself.
Further question when cuts out of English. No, English.
ये अंग्रेज छु संस्कृत अंग्रेज इतरन में जापी आज खातिर छु मैं शुरू करूं join संस्कृत in Kashmir सुचासा Saturday mornings बचस है I decided to showing it. Acha. When the knowledge of oneself arises, one moves in the sky of consciousness, which is Shiva's state. Okay. The guru is the means. Okay. The awakening of the wheel of Matrika. Again, we are coming back to Matrika. Did you have a question, Vinita? Okay. The body is the oblation. Oblation kya go? In this process.
Sacrifice karte ho. You have to sacrifice your body to get this.
Oh, the body is the oblation. Okay. Sacrifice.
Swaha.
Okay. Swaha. Knowledge is food. Knowledge is food. Okay. But also knowledge is God.
Body is also the yantra, right? Mantra, tantra, yantra.
But this is No, but it's talking about detachment.
The body becomes the device.
But it's talking about attachment.
Right.
Attachment.
I mean, attachment that one is just the one's body. So it's written that in this process, one must get rid of one's attachment to the idea that one is just one's body. It is in this sense that the body is to be sacrificed. Okay. Knowledge.
I guess it's like saying that the body is the doer, but don't get attached to it because it's just the doer.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
But I have a question actually about this.
No, body is never a doer. That is the hamkar. We think body. Body is not the
Right.
doer.
That is also
It is
true.
the
That is
atma.
true.
It is the consciousness which is the doer.
But then that's some.
But
That's
when you
Anavapaya,
take the
right?
ownership of that doing, that's where the ego comes in.
But
Body
then-
is the instrument of doing, na?
Yeah.
So
Correct.
isn't
Body
that
is the instrument of doing.
isn't that the difference between Shaktopaya and Anavapaya then? Like the
No, no,
Shaktopaya
no,
is more about your
Yes, that is
Just
the difference.
keep in mind, these are all continuum. It's not a hard line divisions between the three different upayas.
You
There's
need,
lot
One
of
leaf.
body. You need body to do everything.
Yes.
All the
That is the
upayas need
instrument.
body.
Body is the
All the
instrument.
upayas need
Yes.
body, but I think
Media.
what the distinction is probably here. I think Shaktopaya, we have talked only about mantra so far. There is no breath work so far.
There
Vimala,
isn't any.
Sri
It's
Krishna-
about to end. It's about to end. There are only 2 more sutras.
Okay, ruk jao. The body is the oblation, knowledge is food, and with the extinction of knowledge emerges the vision of that. So Shaktopaya is connected to knowledge and
Efforts, knowledge.
Right.
effort to
No, effort go anupaya, so kriya shakti.
But the second one did
So-
say 2.2 did say effort leads to knowledge. Knowledge is attained, but that also is about knowledge only.
2.2 so that is Shaktopaya.
Shaktopaya, knowledge is attainable for one.
Prayatnaha
see one's
sadhakaha.
process.
Prayatna
To
sadhaka.
put efforts to attain knowledge, na?
Right.
Yeah. So I think
That is how it is related.
2 and 3 differentiation is basically one is using the body as an instrument to do Anapai breathing exercises, blah blah blah.
Right.
Whatever Anlom Vilom, and second one is knowledge. I think that's what I'm understanding so far.
But the way these upayas for a regular ordinary sadhak, one who is not at any stage in this upliftment, for them, you start the Anu upaya, you go to Shaktopaya, then you go to Shambhu upaya. That's the ultimate upaya.
Yeah.
But they are not separate. They are not distinct, compartmentalized, this thing.
Yeah.
So it depends on where you are, where one is, that you start at that level. If somebody is already, from previous birth is fully, kind of awakened or almost awakened, then they can go straight to Shambhu upaya. They don't have to go through Anu upaya,
Yeah. Yes.
It's like Kashir is not karan double tarki. Double tarki is not karan.
Double promotion.
Double promotion. That's not karan.
But if you are, so again, one more thing to be clear is that if you are at, let's say, Shambhupai or a Shaktopaya level, I mean, I don't know how to calculate it, but then the prerequisite is not actually Anavupaya.
Yes. You don't need
Right.
अगर से गणनति पता का छे गणनित दोइमी जमात में क्या पढ़ना तो go straight to त्रैमिश जमात में.
But
There is
also
double promotion.
no, but also that if you are in Anavupaya and if you do it well, you can jump directly.
Yeah.
Subhashi told in the start that Subhashi
it's
told
not-
in the start
we are
that you
thinking
can
that
start from top to bottom or bottom to top. You
No,
can-
but
you can start at any.
but bottom to top, you don't have to go through Shaktopaya and Shambhupai to get to up. I'm saying
No.
that from Anavupaya you can go to top directly. You don't have to go through that. Means when you say bottom up, I think that's what I understood, right? Is that right?
Yeah, but you're not. How do you
there are
measure
different
that
ways of
now?
saying.
For me,
You
I
can go through.
I don't even know what these three are like distinctly. Like everything makes sense to me. I don't understand why we try to differentiate between them, and that's
Yeah,
where I'm caught up.
I am 60% Anavapai and 20% Shakto. I won't classify as that. I will just go.
Which is why
It's like going
in
to
Vigyan
the
Bhairav
elementary
they're all
school,
put
middle
together.
school,
Because
high
they're
school.
really
It's
entangled.
like that.
They are entangled.
You cannot You can't
They are
compartmentalize. You
entangled,
don't
yes.
break them into different
They are
compartments.
entangled. You
But you
cannot
have to go
separate.
through the process. If I am bad in the primary school, I'm not going to go to middle school and high school. Forget about that. So I have to go through the motion, go through the whole process of learning before I go to the next level.
Sounds
So they
good.
say that in Kali Yuga, 95, I mean, I'm just making up a number, 95% of the people need to start from Anupaya.
Anavopaya, yes.
And maybe 4% people need to start from Shaktopaya, and 1% can do it from Shambhavapaya.
Correct.
That's what
Do you know
that's what
the
we're
person who are already in the Shambhavapaya?
Rajendra ji, kya
Okay,
bana?
let's start somewhere. Let's start.
Ganesh Katwa to sari video on.
5% people?
Video kariyo on. Buchum pigri tarah the banan kus kya?
No, I was asking Vijayji, does he know who those 5% people are who are already in Shambhavapaya?
It must be
No,
one
no,
of them.
Shambhavapaya is
No, there are-
1%. Amdut Shambhavapaya is 1%. Shaktopaya is in 5%.
I'm definitely not
Magar
one,
Tatus
but
Pati
I think
94% dun Anavas.
Lakshmanju, Swami Lakshmanju, even Swami Lakshmanju did not achieve his Bharahood till the 80s, So even he
Maybe
was
he
not there.
stayed in Shaktopaya forever because he was all about knowledge only.
No, actually, it said that in 80s, late 80s or something like that, he did go through an experience where he did achieve that kind of a thing. And then he was telling people, he was telling people that, you are seeing me right now, just being close to me right now, you are blessed already. Because, that he said, and then, but then they studied it further and they said, no, it's going to be a very unique experience that he's going to have. He's not going to die.
He's going to be one with the God.
So yeah, Padagav Sutta touches full story. So I won't tell that story, but he experienced that thing in his 80s, whereas he was teaching these people, those academy people in the 80s, before he achieved that state himself.
Yeah.
So answering Rajendraji's question, there are very few people, and they don't necessarily have to be Hindus. They can be in some jungle in Chad or Timbuktu or someplace.
Or not a jungle on a computer also. Okay, so 1.1 consciousness is self.
Hey, 8 minutes. I skipped stuff. 5
minutes. Pat kariyo to sawal. Now, isko gan mokla gonet. Calculation Acha. Consciousness is the self. The multitude of emanations are the various parts of the body. Physical emanations are parts of the embodied activity. Okay. The ground of knowledge is matrika, which we have learned. Sound. The upsurge of consciousness is Bhairava. This I didn't understand, honestly.
Yeah, it's that aspect of consciousness which we call Bhairav, where you are talking of changes within you, because Shiva is total, absolute, calm, auspicious being. But Bhairav is that aspect of Shiva which represents energy and change.
Which is perceived by us.
Yeah, which is perceived by the practitioner.
Okay. By union
This
with
is the
the
same.
energy.
Sorry. Just a quick clarification. This is the same Bhairava which you were talking about at the beginning of the the session. Is this the same? This would be the same.
Yeah.
By union with the energy centers, one withdraws from the universe. Okay. Even during waking, sleeping, and deep sleep, one can experience the fourth state, which is Turiya. Mundane knowledge is obtained in the waking state.
Worldly knowledge.
Yeah. Dreaming is free ranging of thoughts. Sure. Deep sleep is Maya, the state of non-distinction. Sure. The experiencer of the three states is the lord of the senses. Okay. The stage of yoga are astonishing. Vismaya. The stages of yoga are astonishing. Vismaya. The union of the three is when one has access to the light of Shiva, which takes one beyond mundane experiences. Okay. The power of the will is the playful Uma, which is the Ichha Shakti, which we discussed.
Right.
The observed is embodied. The ordinary reality is in terms of embodiments. Observed is embodied. Means whatever you witness.
Right.
Is embodied. Means what? Ordinary.
Embodied meaning we give shapes, that these are things, this is that, this is that. So we ultimately imagine things in our mind in terms of shapes or individuals or this or that.
Objects.
You see that?
Objects.
So that is what gives a structure to our experienced world.
Okay. Ordinary reality is in terms of embodiment. So we have to give form for something for us to perceive.
That's the nature of the mind.
Okay, yeah. By fixing the mind on its heart, means mind has its own heart. One can comprehend the perceivable and emptiness.
By the way, which point you are reading?
1.15.
Okay.
We are close to finishing. This normally takes 2 years.
Okay,
and
wait.
We are doing it in just 2 hours.
That's the magic. That's the magic of Subhashji's writing.
Actually,
Okay, I agree.
इससे फिर आप ना कैद हो जाओगे, नॉलेज में कैद हो जाओगे, फिर आपको फ्रीडम नहीं मिलेगी।
वही है ना,
ज्ञानम
बंधा।
रिविजन चल रहा है।
No, Amrita, you're right. Jnanam bandha. If you get absorbed in surface knowledge, then you are a prisoner to it. Then you're not
that
free.
is one of the sutras we just read.
Yeah.
Okay. 1 point.
मेरे साथ में बैठना अमृता एग्जाम में याद हो गए।
one day before Pashpashin is one Narvi's cruel canon types. Okay. Okay, 1.16. Or by contemplating the pure principle, one is free of the power that binds animal instincts. Okay. Okay. Reflection is the knowledge of the self. Okay.
Let's see. These are statements, assertions.
Yeah. The bliss of perceived world is the joy of samadhi, which is what we are trying to achieve right here. The bliss of perceived world is the joy of samadhi. At samadhi, the world makes sense, and that fills up one with joy. Okay. In the union of power, the body emerges. The body of Maya makes embodiments which are separated. The power of Maya makes embodiments emerge from the interconnected state of undifferentiated reality. So many English words, beautiful, but didn't understand. But okay.
Yeah, because everything is connected. But the way we see it, we see it as separate. And that's how the world is created in our mind.
Yeah, 1.2.
3 more to go.
Okay. Elements are united and elements are separated, and the universe is assembled. Great. I like this. Sounds like Lego. 1.21. The tattvas of lordship arises from the wheel that leads to pure knowledge. The knowledge of consciousness states lead to a mastery of energy centers. Okay. 1.22 is the great lake of mind is experienced through the power of mantra. The deepest knowledge is attained through the elements of sound that go to the center of the language in which one contemplates. Okay, I think we are done.
We are done.
I think we are still at the place where we started. We have
2 + 2 is 4.
Subhaji, I have a suggestion and a request. Next time you write an article like this, please use Devanagari also.
No, I do. I always do. I think it was this publisher, they wanted only. I always do Devanagari. In fact, if you'll see my other books.
Sentence.
I know. But I do have Devanagari in all my other books for Sanskrit. I have Devanagari.
Yeah, he does.
And this,
Vijayji has had a question.
I find it now very difficult to read in English.
Yeah. Vijayji had a question which I thought we'll postpone, but Vijayji.
No, actually, at that time, I think I remember what the question was. The question was basically, when we say that we had to get rid of these attachments, we had to get rid of this, we had, these Maya, all that stuff. But as you said, Suraji, this is the design of the Prakriti. It is embedded in it. Shiva actually is supposed to have put it in as part of the algorithm. That this is how the world would operate, and he is hiding things from himself by putting this Maya in front of us and by putting these Kanchikas, the limited raga, what they call raga and kala and all that stuff.
Right.
So what do we mean by we should get rid of this?
Okay. What it means is, imagine a
while
dance.
Subhashji answers that, please turn on your cameras.
Okay. Just imagine a dance. You have the beginning of a movement of dance and the end. But it's the middle where you are neither in the beginning nor the end, which is what Shiva Sutra asks you to do. You are holding on to everything, because the moment you stop, then you lose consciousness. Consciousness is like a flow. So that's what it's saying.
Yeah. One of the things that I read in another book was that these using your body to unite yourself with the ultimate reality is like it can condition to kond kadan. Agar kond asan chamut, so kadne khatu shpad kond lagawan tamis ne chakran kond bya kond kadan. So you are using your body to get rid of your body.
Yeah,
you're using your knowledge. You're using your knowledge to get rid of this limited knowledge. And
lower knowledge. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. This itcha to get rid of other itcha. Knowledge to get rid of other knowledge. Absolutely. This is very
well said.
True.
We have become, I think, experts now.
This is the heart of Kashmir Shaivism in 1 hour and 29 minutes.
I love it. I think I think we are also at the stage of absorption at this level, because there's a lot of work that has gone into it, like, with lalwaks that we have done. हमने ज़्यादा ही कुछ पढ़ लिया, अब हमको knowledge extra हो गई है, अब हमको सिर्फ implement करना है.
You're on the expressway.
There's a story that Jawaharlal Nehru wrote letter to Indira Gandhi. And one of the stories was that there was this wise man somewhere in India who had a copper plate wrapped around his abdomen, saying that he is so full of knowledge, he is afraid that it's going to burst. So he basically was protecting his knowledge by that process. I think we have a copper plate too around our waist now.
Well, shed it.
Letters from father to daughter. Letters from father to daughter, written by Jawaharlal Nehru.
This is the yantra of Param Shiva. Para, and apara. Those are those three in the middle. And the whole idea in Kashmir Shaivism is to be in that para. You live your life being in para. This is page 172. Page 172.
Yes.
Well, wonderful. I think this is very impressive. I'm most impressed. Wonderful.
So Shaivism has something to do with number 3. Everything comes in threes.
That is all of the Vedas. Everything is in threes. And Bhu, Bhuvaha, Swaha. When you do Gayatri Mantra, you talk of Bhu, Bhuvaha, Swaha. Bhu means earth, which is your body. Bhuvaha means atmosphere or the pranas within you. And Swaha is the outer sun or the inner sun, which is your consciousness. So it's all about the interplay of these three. That is the heart of the Vedas. That's the heart of Shaivism. That is the heart of all of this.
So it's the same para, and apara. That's also apara. Right. Apara being our body, physical body, right?
Apara is the physical body. Para is in the middle, pran, where you're doing your sadhana, and para is where the inner Surya, or where Shiva resides. Param Shiva resides.
Yeah. So there's Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha.
Right. Bhu Bhuva Swaha.
Bhu Bhuva Swaha.
Swaha means
photo there.
What a pleasure.
I think the host has
right.
Host has made a silent exit.
And this Vijayji is Bhur, because what happens is boo. Boo has a visor, but it becomes a r sound when it's written as a jab sandhi hoti hai. So because of sandhi, it becomes boo, boa, swaha. Otherwise, boo, boa, swaha.
Okay.
So
The hostess has made an exit. So Shruti is the junior hostess. So
Yes.
do we leave?
Shruti guys. Shruti guys.
हाँ जी
Shruti guys. Okay.
करियो sorry panon upaya practice weekend.
Yes. Now the next task is
So this is the fourth upay called the exit upay, right?
That is anupai.
When things get messy, just exit.
Upay. Okay.
Hello, namaskar, Sadhmi.
Namaskar.
Namaskar.